Well, good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and it's October 22nd, just a month away from my birthday. Well, that's a scary thought. That's a big number this year. We don't want to talk about that yet. Anyway, have a very blessed Friday. Remember, we don't have a devotion tomorrow because we're not doing them on Saturdays any longer, but we'll pick up from here on Monday and continue talking Monday about what we're talking about today. But at any rate, we got through the 13th verse of the 7th chapter of John yesterday, and we're going to pick up in the 14th verse and go through the 24th today. Remember, Jesus was going up to the Festival of the Booths, which is about 6 months from where we left off with him previously. So some time has passed between him healing the fellow at the pool and all of that, and that's coming up here. He's going to be referencing that in his rant today. And honestly, that's pretty much the only way you can say about this. Jesus goes on a bit of a rant here today. So when we do that, when we go on a rant, say, hey, I'm just following a good example or a religious example. Jesus gets a little wound up too at times. And so he is in the temple today. Remember, he didn't go up in the procession to the Festival of Booths. This is to Sukkot. He went up quietly on his own. He wasn't part of the big flash and gore, the pomp and circumstance coming into Jerusalem and all of that. But he's come in either with a few people or by himself. I would think he probably had a few people with him, but who knows? Jesus is Jesus. Jesus will do what Jesus does. But at any rate, he has come into the festival, and he's kind of been sneaking around. Apparently, he's been kind of incognito, as they say, and he is now. It's the middle of the week. It's a week-long festival. In the middle of the week, so about a Wednesday-ish, or maybe, he shows up in the temple. And this has most likely happened in the court of the Gentiles. Now, in the court of the Gentiles in the temple, that's the outer court of the temple. The court of the Gentiles, there would have been various little porticos or little inlets or whatever you want to call them, areas around the edge where we believe that various rabbis would have set up and held court, so to say, to do some teaching to their students, their disciples. And this is most likely an area somewhere in that temple area. Jesus has set up shop, and he started to teach. And he is teaching in the temple, is where we're picking up at today in verse 14. Though his being incognito appears to have disappeared now. Because he's now come out and made a public appearance. So let's pick up at verse 14 and go through 24 today. About the middle of the festival, Jesus went up into the temple and began to teach. The Jews were astonished at it, saying, "How does this man have such learning when he has never been taught?" Then Jesus answered them, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. Anyone who resolves to do the will of God will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I am speaking on my own. Those who speak on their own seek their own glory, but the one who speaks or seeks the glory of him who sent him is true, and there is nothing false in him. Did not Moses give you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why are you looking for an opportunity to kill me?" The crowd answered, "You have a demon. Who is trying to kill you?" Jesus answered them, "I performed one work, and all of you are astonished. Moses gave you circumcision. It is, of course, not from Moses, but from the patriarchs. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath in order that the law of Moses may not be broken, are you angry with me because I healed a man's whole body on the Sabbath? Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment." Okay. It's possible Jesus hasn't identified who he is. He just starts talking and proclaiming, and because it sounds kind of like they're not really sure who he is. And he said, "Where did he get this teaching? Who is this guy anyway? We're not seeing him here before," which seems kind of strange because Jesus' family went up to the temple every year for the Passover at least. But apparently he was just part of the crowd. He wasn't making a lot of gathering a lot of attention for most of that. Because it seems at this point anyway, they're not sure who he is, what's going on with him. We don't know what Jesus did get his teaching. We can certainly believe that his knowledge being divine, his knowledge is predestined, so to say, to steal a word from the Calvinists, but that he was born with this knowledge, so to say. But Also, we don't know where he got his teaching. There's different thoughts on that, but we're not going to belabor that today. I think Jesus probably did have actual teaching, as he had a rabbi that taught him somewhere along the line. Any rate, but Jesus proclaims that the teaching I'm teaching, no matter where I got it from, is not mine, it's the Father's. I'm speaking on behalf of the Father above. And I'm resolved to do the will of God. And if you do that, if you do the will of God, you will understand. If you truly are doing the will of God, you will understand that it is God's word I am speaking. And he's not seeking his own glory. He's really not, because he didn't go up in the pomp and circumstance. This is not the great the grand procession into Jerusalem that we have before he is crucified. He came in quietly. This is not pomp and circumstance. He just came in and there he is teaching. But he goes on and talks about Moses giving them the law and then talking about the circumcision. And of course, he messes that up a little bit here, and John patches that up. The circumcision came from the Abrahamic covenant, not part of the Mosaic law. But the point he has there, and of course he says a man on the Sabbath, typically you're circumcising babies. If the baby was circumcised on a certain time after the birth, and if that fell on a Sabbath, you did the circumcision on a Sabbath. You didn't push that off in order to circumcise the baby at the right time according to the law. So you didn't preempt the law about circumcision in order to obey the Sabbath circumcision. That's the point he's getting at here. So if you're going to abide by that circumcision, why wouldn't you heal the whole man on a Sabbath? They're going back all the way back. He's bringing back up again. They're kind of going, what's he talking about? Because he's on a bit of a rant. He's going all the way back to when he healed that man by the pool. Remember, way back. And then they resolved to kill him because he had done that on the Sabbath. And that there's still apparently some folks around that are not too happy with Jesus. They still remember months ago that Jesus was there and had done this thing, and we want to, by golly, we're going to get him for that. So that's what he's talking about here. Is this they have passed judgment on him, and he's showing them how illogical their idea is of why they want to kill him. You want to kill me because I healed somebody, for pity's sake? Think about that for a moment. Really? Seriously? You for doing good on a Sabbath, you want to kill me? This is seriously insane. And that's what he's getting at here. And I think we could look at that, and I'm not going to point fingers at anything, but we look at the world we're in today, and we look at the way we're judging people on different things, across the board, lots of things. You can think about it, and you'll find some if you're honest with yourself. That's the problem. We often aren't honest with ourselves when even we're looking at the Bible. We want to push away our sin and say, it's, the relative badness of my sin is like this. The relative badness of your sin, of course, is way up there. And so shame, shame, shame on you. And I, of course, am just, maybe I'm a tiny bit bad, but not that big a deal. Kind of the same thing. But there's lots of things we're doing in this world today that are very much in line to what Jesus is talking about here. We are doing stuff that makes no sense. We are doing all kinds of crazy things, and we're calling it, we're holding ourselves up as being pious because we hold this opinion, but yet there's this other thing that we have that we hold up that is vastly much more of a problem than this one over here. And we are hypocrites beyond hypocrites beyond hypocrites in this world today. And this is what Jesus is talking. He's talking about the hypocrisy of this idea, of this healing, that you're going to kill me for doing good on a Sabbath. Come on. But we do the same thing. We want to kill people figuratively, not literally, for having a position, and yet we have a position that is much worse. So, and we defend ours because, hey, that's my political opinion, that's my theological opinion, that's my whatever. And we are very good at rationalizing our own sins as to be not really sins at all, but they're still sins. We need to follow the resolve to do the will of God, and you'll know whether the teaching is from God or whether I'm speaking on my own. We're speaking on our own when we're trying to rationalize our sins. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Have a very blessed weekend. Please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. Talk to them about Jesus, for crying out loud. And we will pick up on Monday. Don't forget, Sunday, of course, we will be live streaming service at 10 a.m. Also, we are worshiping as pretty much almost the normal in the sanctuary. We welcome you to come and join us. We would love, 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 love to see you all, each and every one of you. And so with that, please, please have a blessed day. We'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.